What is going on, Notre Dame fans? Mike Singer, Tim Hyde, live on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel. Talk some Notre Dame football. Appreciate everyone watching live, watching back, listening to this as a podcast. Comment here. We're almost at 30,000 subscribers. How about that on YouTube? You absolutely love to see it. Tim got in a tad late, so I didn't get to have any chit-chat time with Tim before we went live. I haven't talked to Tim much recently. So, Tim, I was off last week. Glad to be back. Tim, everything going well, my friend? You're muted, my friend. Hey, usually it's me who does that, so that's nice.
Yeah, rookie mistake. No, let's get rocking. You got some good ideas at 9 a.m. today, so I was like, shoot it, let's go. So less I had to think about. But no, I'm excited. I actually put a couple thoughts together about 12 seconds ago, and I think it'll be fun.
I'm glad you're prepped.
No, I'm joking. No. Some of the topics tonight will be good.
Yeah. Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. I have to ask Tim, how was the show last week? I skimmed through a little bit of it today. You guys went an hour and a half, which, if I was around, I would have, been ruling with an iron fist and, shut you.
Well, that's what I was talking about. I was like, yeah, we don't have Singer, worrying about ad reads every 6 minutes. We can and discuss a few things. And no, it's funny because Horko's like, we were all texting at night, and he was like, all right, guys, I love the show. I love it. 60 minutes. Boom. Let's just get right to it. Now we go 90. No, but there's some fun topics and just way more we could dive into even deeper. So
yeah,
it was fun. When you start diving into the future, recruiting, just the whole makeup of Notre Dame, it's changing every day. I literally just saw 5 minutes ago. I was reading the news real quick. All the House settlement's going to hit like first week of April, and all these, all the bigwigs met today, all the presidents and the commissioners and all those guys. And lo and behold, it's not even final, Mike, and the state of Oregon is already trying to block the University of Oregon athletes from being part of the NIL clearinghouse where they have to get NIL approved. What does that tell you about Oregon? Correct. So there you go, right there. So they're already fighting that, and the damn thing's not even final. So
yeah,
it's just going to be never ending. It's insane.
If I was a college football business reporter, right? Because that's kind of business, like the whole that side of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that falls under business report. I would be terrible. That I don't give a rat's ass about some of this stuff. It's like, all right, the House settlement, this, that, and the other thing. Just tell me what it means at the end of the day. Like I don't like diving into any of that stuff. Just some people are like, I don't care about following recruiting. Tell me about them when they enroll. That's kind of how I feel about some of this. Whatever the House settlement stuff is, I don't follow it at all. Not for a second. So that's how I feel. That's how I am about that.
At the end of the day, that is the biggest news moving forward. I mean, we'll talk about some of that. It is. The entire thing is shaping college football for the foreseeable future.
I think Steve Angeli, CJ Carr, and Kenny Minchey is shaping college football, and that is.
Well, let's dive into that. Because this a three-man quarterback race makes zero sense to me. So let's get into that. Whatever you got first.
We're going to start, Tim. You wanted to talk about this, an article recently from Yahoo, SEC Big Ten building momentum to further expand college football playoff to 14 or 16 teams. That it was confirmed it was going to be 14 soon, but maybe 16.
Yeah. Well, that's just, come on. You got to add a little spice in there, correct? Hell, go to 48. Basketball's going to what, 88 or something now? I mean, they're just going to play for 2 months. But no, this is one of the things Horka and I wanted to dive in last week, and we started talking about Notre Dame GM for 45 minutes, and I was like, we could skip this. But we all knew this was probably happening before they even started the 12 team. So this was all out there, but Ross Dellinger's the best. I mean, he gets scoops every other day, and his reporting is awesome, how he's breaking it all down. Obviously, he's getting the inside from the SEC and the Big Ten of what's actually taking place. So it's cool. And then, but Mike, it's the auto bids. That's where people come down on Are you pro
Right.
auto bid
SEC gets
or
4, Big Ten gets 4 or something.
now I'll give a little 30-second commercial to where I find the positives in it because all they're saying is we want conferences to matter. And if it's all about the committee, well, you're going to have Jack Sobel's Missouri Tigers playing the Sisters of the Poor. Pull up Missouri's preseason this year, or Penn State's. It is absolutely her. Hell, USC's playing like Georgia State and then a FCS school before they get going into Big Ten play. So this is look at Penn State scrimmage. Villanova, what were they playing? Raleigh Massimino in the '84, Villanova from the national basketball title, and a bye. So look at all those scrimmages before they even get going. So this is what the TV contracts are talking about. This is what Pete Bavacqua and his old buddies at NBC are saying. Hell, auto bids, then you guys could play a real preseason, and none of those really matter outside of a playoff seed because it has no bearing on your conference. So right now, that's going back to the SMU or Indiana drops Louisville to get a 1AA last year, and that's where they got their bonus win and got into the playoffs. So I think that's what the Big Ten and the SEC are doing. People are against it. But man, if it helps television and it helps get rid of these cupcakes in September, maybe that's the best way to go.
Okay.
What do you think?
Anything else on that, Tim? 16 teams, how it relates to Notre Dame specifically?
Well, everything goes back to freaking scheduling, correct? So if your schedule, it's man, I mean, we used to talk for days on this damn thing because it's all about scheduling, and it's like USC, right? Everyone's up in roar because USC more than likely wants to end the rivalry. Well, if you're looking at it at USC's point of view, it makes all the damn sense in the world. Why should we play 9 conference? And if they do this SEC Big Ten matchup, which they're talking about opening the season every year with that in September, well, that's 10 power 4 games.
Yeah.
Why if I'm USC, it's like, why the hell do I have to play Notre Dame when Michigan's getting an extra home game against Kent State? So that's the interesting thing right there, and it makes sense for USC. But if these teams get auto bids and preseasons are really going to be television shows, you could have Notre Dame SC play in September. Texas and Ohio State open the season this year. Obviously that could be an SEC Big Ten battle down the road, but you got Florida State. Is Florida and Florida State really going to end their rivalry? I mean, that's insane. The biggest rivalry in the state, in your neck of the woods, up north a little bit, is Clemson, South Carolina. Those state politicians, no way in hell want that thing to end. But if they're all playing 9 conference games, a 10th against one another in Big Ten, SEC, they're like, man, why the hell am I have to play 11th game when others are playing 10? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's what's wild when you look at that. And it's all about, obviously, comes down to scheduling for Notre Dame Alabama and Notre Dame are scheduled in a few years from now. No way in hell Alabama wants to play that game.
So then who's going to play Notre Dame?
You got the MAC.
No, Mac. No Mac.
Sunbelt with Marshall. I mean, obviously, that goes back to the thing that was leaked a month ago, right? Notre Dame upping the the ACC to play Miami, Florida State, Clemson more. Start getting those guys in there more. And maybe they just, branch out. That's why, to me, the auto bids, back up real quick. That's why the auto bids are so important. If you have the auto bids, these teams are not going to just play. If there's no auto bids, there's no incentive to play hard preseason games. There's none. That's why I said on the message board, well, hell, Texas just re-upped with Notre Dame, right? Why does Texas want to play that game? Why does Bama want to play that game? That's going to knock them down a peg. But if you keep all these as auto bids, the SEC and Big Ten are the 2 best conferences. I could see why they want 4. And then you could keep some of these contracts with Notre Dame.
Yeah.
unless Notre Dame's going to just go crazy and start playing the Big 12, right? In the new formed Pac-12 against Wazoo and Memphis, I think, is coming in, right? You get a little Memphis Pac-12 after dark game, Mike, on a Friday night. No, that's not fun. But that's all. I mean, it's fascinating. Obviously, it's been out there for 2 weeks. It's just meaningful to set in the thing. And at least with Notre Dame is you're in the 14, you make it.
Yeah.
And you make it.
When you were talking about the like in-state rivalries, but different conferences, I mean, I remember as a kid, I think it's always Black Friday, right? Texas A&M. It's like my favorite game to watch as a kid. I don't know why. I always loved that. And I was like heartbroken like when they took that away. So it happens. They'll do it, Tim. If they took away Texas A&M or Texas and Texas A&M, they'll, who knows where they'll stop. I don't know.
Well, exactly. Speaking of Thanksgiving, you had the old.
Is that Thanksgiving game? Is it a Thanksgiving game they usually do it?
Yeah, it used to be Thanksgiving. Yeah, I think it was Thanksgiving night they used to play that. But I want to say Friday was Nebraska. That was Nebraska, Oklahoma, back in the heyday when those two big powers played each other, and they got rid of that. Obviously the Egg Bowl, but that's in conference. So, but it's some of these other ones. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they could get rid of so many of these things in a heartbeat. That's why, obviously, Notre Dame, USC's, soft, buttery. No, they're looking at it like, why am I doing all of this as others are not, especially in this new era? It's trying to make everything as equal as possible. So I could see where that's coming. Probably a bad take because people are, Notre Dame, blah, blah, blah. But you got to look at it from them. And, the 14, I'm excited about it. Just it's a guaranteed spot for Notre Dame. I mean, my God, you go 10-2, you're in. You're going to be in the top 14. So I think that's really good. And, and going back, I went all the way back to Brian Kelly, to the 2012 title run when they went to the title game. That's 13 seasons from then to this title run. They've only made it 7 out of 13 years. So it's not like it's automatic. Notre Dame fans, we're going to make it every year. There's going to be some 9-3s in there. Hell, there might be one this year. So you just never know. There's no such thing, right? So the fact that they've made it 7 out of 13 is impressive.
Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video, of course, if you have not done so yet. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to talk about Augie's Locker Room, which, Tim, I know you guys did talk about last week on the show. And we know that Irish fans love unique memorabilia, especially when it comes to Notre Dame and one-of-a-kind Rockney items. And Augie's Locker Room is the place to go. Man, Jack Kaiser mini helmet, Drake Bowen mini helmet signed, Audric Estime signed jersey, Joe Montana. I mean, come on. The Jay Love, the Jerome Bettis, Tim Brown signed jerseys. This Jay Love one, go Irish, and it's green. I mean, this looks sweet. So go to the online store, augieslockerroom.com/shop, or if you're in town, you're local, whatever the case is, go to Augie's Locker Room at 1733 North Ironwood Drive in South Bend, and make sure you see the vintage helmet display dating back to 1890. Wide selection of really cool Notre Dame items. You got the jerseys, helmets, autographs, one-of-a-kind Rockney items, exclusive Joe Montana signed items, and famous sculptor Jerry McKenna's replicas of the bronze statues around the stadium. If Augie doesn't have something in store and you want it, give Augie a call, 574-277-6363, and he's going to go find it for you. I mean, the J Love replica, I mean, this support the troops. I mean, the camo, this is incredible.
I love it.
I mean, for $225, I mean, that's like a couple of dinners for some of you guys. Like, I mean, that thing looks incredible. That is probably where else are you finding this? Where are you finding? How does Augie get how does he get a camo jersey signed by Jeremiah Love? And it says support the troops on it. I mean, that's badass right there.
Gives them a few bucks, and there you go. Get a little, skim off the top, and Welcome to the modern sports memorabilia world. Hey, real quick off last point, 15 seconds off Mark with glasses. He's not wearing his contacts tonight, so Mark with glasses. Regular season getting even more diminished. That's the point of the big heavyweights are saying, is going back to Indiana. They dropped Louisville to go play a 1AA because they want an easy cupcake win. That's their thing. This is going back to Nick Saban talking about this for 10 years, 20 years. Like, get rid of the FCS. Everyone play the same amount of games. So if you're going to play 10 power fours, everyone gets 2 group of 5s, no FCSs. So they're trying to make it to where really the preseason does matter for seeding purposes. That's why they're trying to up the games in September, and then everyone play the same amount of conference games, which the SEC is going to go to 7 conference games. So yeah, he says strength of schedule used to mean something. Now it's all, well, we just learned in the playoffs, it's just about W's. Strength of schedule is kind of meaningless when you looked at SMU, Indiana getting in, hell, even Notre Dame with strength of schedule was the 70s until the end of the season. So really strength of schedule is kind of meaningless when you look at it all.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it was a lot about what were your most quality wins.
Yeah.
And, some of those teams just, I don't know. It felt like, man, how is all these teams didn't have these quality wins? Like, no, I don't know. It was a fun
last point on that. There's these mega conferences. It's like Texas, right? Texas's best win this year was Michigan.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they played, the only team they played with the Pulse, sorry, Tyler, is Georgia, and they got boat raced in the regular season in Austin when they were number 1 team in the country. Outside of that, they played all the backups, all the average teams until A&M was their big heavyweight. A&M was 8-3 when they played them. So that's why this mismanagement of all these teams playing, that's why they got to go to 9 conference games. So.
All right. So the nuts and bolts of today's show is a case for and a case against each of the 3 contenders. Sorry, Blake Hebert, we are not including you in this. Or Anthony Rizak. We're really just going for
Rizak. Doesn't have a shot.
I personally don't think so. Stranger things have happened. But we're gonna start with hashtag Why Not Kenny. Tim, what is the case for Kenny Minchey as Notre Dame's starting quarterback? Like, what's on your mind here?
Well, just the start, instead of just going right to an individual, I want to start with, Notre Dame fans. We're assuming this is a 3-man race, and as someone who's coached for a couple of years of my life, and it's like, who the hell wants to monitor a 3-person race? It makes no sense.
Well,
hold on. Let me just back up here, because I know this is the thing. Fans, talking Notre Dame fans, everyone's assuming this is going into the spring. Everyone gets a third of the pie, right? Everyone gets a third of equal reps.
Nope.
And if that happens,
it's not.
That's a huge disservice.
There's no way. There's no way
in hell. How can you pick a quarterback when everyone's getting equal reps? My thinking going into this show and going into the spring is, if I'm Marcus Freeman, Denbrock, and Gino, man, you better know who your 2 are right away. Like, going into spring, these are our 2. These are the 2 that are going to get the massive amounts of reps. Number 3, we're going to give you some, you're going to get a sprinkle here and there. And if you impress, you may have a chance. But I don't know how the hell you have a 3-man race. That's just my stupid little thing.
So what I was going to say was, it's at least there's the 3 names in the spring, and then the fall, there's just, you would assume on paper, right? Just using logic, and you would assume one of them goes. Now, Notre Dame would love to have all 3 of them in the fall, and maybe one of them's like, you know what?
I just want to get a degree.
I'm okay. Yeah, I want to stay here.
I'm getting paid money. I got some NIL, hang out, and got free Notre Dame gear, and I get to travel.
Maybe some kids love Notre Dame. Like, you're recruited. Hey, come get your degree, and then you don't get it. It's like, it's like, no, I want to get this damn degree. Like, that's why Notre Dame recruited me. So that's something we've talked about.
Yeah, and that's my thinking as we go into this. Obviously, we'll talk about all 3, because that's that's the talk, that's the hype and all that stuff. But I'm looking at it as a football coach, like, how do you divvy up 3? If you have 3, you don't have 1, is the old saying, right? If you don't have 2, you don't have 1. So you better know who your guys are going to compete, which I'm pretty sure that's kind of known by the coaching staff. They've had 3 seasons with Steve, 2 with Kenny, and 1 with CJ, but a hell of a lot of practices with all these guys in between. Yeah. So even with Carr's elbow, real quick, he had all of the playoffs he was practicing. So, and he was back to normal there at the
but to your point, how much? I mean, what kind of reps are we talking about? Like, what kind of practice looks? You think Notre Dame? Now, the media, when the media gets to see practice, or shoot the hell out of CJ Carr, and we posted a video of CJ Carr in the thumbnail, and it blew up because we know, like, it's Sugar Bowl week. Yeah, but what the people want, they don't even like talk about the game, sure, but what people really want to see is CJ Carr throwing. That's what the people want. You think the coaches? I don't know how much Mike Denbrock and the staff were thinking about CJ Carr, Sugar Bowl week. They're thinking about Georgia Bay. Then that's going back to your original point. So, like, yeah, he was healthy and throwing it around a little bit, but so I don't know.
That's why.
Reps we're talking about.
I'm not saying you're picking the practices in January where they're tired as hell, getting ready to play 15, 16 games. 4 straight top 10 teams, and they're not great in CJ over there as he's going, nor are they with Kenny and whatnot. And Angeli's getting all the backups. It's just, but they were all there last spring. They were all there last winter. They were there in the summer. The scrimmages during training camp. That's why this coaching staff needs to know we're going in here, and these are our 2. And my last point on that, real quick, Mike, and then we could jump into each one.
Yeah,
just as a coach and thinking of it is. We've gone portal, Buckner Pine combo, portal. So in 2025, whoever the starting quarterback is, that's the dude for the next 2 years minimum. If it's not, then why the hell they didn't go to portal? Seriously. How did you not go to the portal if you don't think one of these guys is your guy for the next couple of years? That's the way. That's something else you got to think about, because if it's Steve, well, he's the guy next year. Well, if he's the guy in 25, why isn't he the guy in 26? He's the freaking starting quarterback. You're going to throw all those reps away so CJ or Kenny could have some good backup time against BC this year in Chestnut Hill? No. So you got to – that's my thinking. Know who your 2 are going into spring, and whoever you pick is my guy for the next couple of years.
All right, we ready to dive into it?
Let's go.
Because this is the case for, case against. I think we're going to milk this sucker. We'll as we preview spring ball and stuff like that, we'll get Tyler on, and we'll do more like diving into the battle and what we think is going to happen, because my opinion on it is the correct one, I think. But different show for different day. By the way, quick announcement. Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. New show. I've been teasing this for like 6 weeks now. We are calling it
first I've heard of it, but go ahead.
We're calling it the Notre Dame 6-pack.
Oh boy.
Okay. 6 topics. And you know how you watch PTI and it's got the topics on the right? It's going to be similar to that. I spent hours, maybe just be 2 hours, but that's still hours. And I'm not some like, video editing guru with setting this up. So this was the first time I've ever done this, but I think it's going to be pretty clean. So I'm going to host it, and Jack and Tyler will have a topic 6 minutes and just go through. And so it'll be like a 40-minute show, and
I like it.
6 topics, 6 minutes for each Notre Dame 6-pack every Wednesday. I wanted to launch a new show.
I like it.
During the off season. So there you go. So Wednesday, February 26th, 8 p.m. Okay.
Tomorrow night? Oh, wow.
Yeah, lunch it tomorrow night. So, all right, case for Kenny Minchey. I got to get up for a second. I'll be right back, Tim. But case for Kenny Minchey as Notre Dame starting quarterback. What do you got?
Case for, tremendous athlete. I mean, you just go back and watch his – obviously, you got to rewatch all these kids' film, when they were being recruited and whatnot. So, case for him, super talented. He's a dual threat. He's a runner, heck of an arm. There are some zips in last year's spring game. We probably will never see a spring game again after this one, but At least last year's, he got to zing it a little bit. Was very sharp. Could scramble, run. He's that, going back to the closest thing maybe to some of the quarterbacks, Mike Denbrock's had in the past when you look at someone that could run and things of that nature. But got a lively arm. I actually went back and rewatched him, over the weekend. I just started taking some notes, trying to, go back into these guys' old film and things of that nature. And no, I mean, he's super talented. He's super talented. He's been there a couple of years. So that's a big positive, right? He's got the couple of years with Gino. Gino obviously knows all three of these guys. He's got a year in the Denbrock system. So it's all about the athleticism. And this is why I keep going back to whoever is picked. That's got to be your guy in 26 as well. So you got to look at the upside, play him a ton in 25, huge upside in 26.
Okay. Case against Kenny Minchey, Tim.
The case against, my biggest case against is, well, first off, if you look at these guys, kind of what, if you go off the, I probably shouldn't even say that, the on-3 ranking. So if you go off of those, here we go, the thing's going to light up. If you go off the on-3 rankings, he's the highest ranked one.
Yeah.
He's the highest ranked one. So maybe Charles Power thinks Kenny Minchey is the guy when you're looking at the other guy.
About that.
Yeah, the other guy. He was 16, Carr 17. Blake Hubert's 27, and Angeli was 37 in his ranking. So,
of course, you know that off the top of your head.
No. I think Hubert's 37, Angeli's 47, because I was looking at Grubbs. Grubbs is so low, so don't even get me going. But anyway, Kenny's the best out of all of them, according when you look at the rankings. But which goes back to my main point is, why is he overtaken Steve Angeli? He's been there 2 years. He's been there 2 training camps, 2 spring balls, 2 bull practices. That's why we'll find out, obviously, when camp start. Spring ball starts here shortly. So my biggest thing is we've never heard about him, have we? I mean, we just haven't. We've heard tons about CJ. We've heard lots about Steve Angeli. Obviously, we've seen Steve play, and then Kenny's just been that forgotten guy. Like, yeah, he's doing good. He's throwing some nice curl routes, and that's what you kind of hear about. So those are the little case. The case for tremendous athlete, hell of an arm. You go back and watch him throw it, hell of an arm.
Yeah.
And, case against, yet has he made a name for himself in 2 years yet? That's the big question.
So your case against is basically like, why haven't we heard anything? Or, if you're very talented, then why haven't you passed Steve, who's not? Is that kind of what
I'm not saying that he hasn't passed Steve, but it's like you haven't passed him. You haven't passed him. I know I talked about this a year ago. Like the vast majority of great Notre Dame quarterbacks, you knew about that guy as a sophomore. He's either playing as a sophomore, he's the main backup as a sophomore. Jerry's Jackson, for example. Obviously, Ian Book in 17, he takes over in 18. Ron Paulus, redshirt frost his sophomore year. Rick Meyer, Jimmy Clausen.
Steve Angeli was a backup as a sophomore.
Was a backup who they would not let throw the ball. So, no, that was his freshman year against Syracuse. And they're like, yeah, just hand out, buddy. Or who was that? UNLV, they wouldn't let him throw. So there's a whole history of guys. Tony Rice is a sophomore, obviously, in 87. Terry Hanratty, Joe Theismann, you go on and on and on. The great Notre Dame quarterbacks have all been a dude by a sophomore year.
Okay. So, all right. Let's move to peanut butter and jelly. The case for Steve as Notre Dame starting quarterback.
He's the guy. He's the guy who's been there for 3 years. He's the guy who's taken since Marshall, right? Since who was the first game? Oh, that was Cal. Drew Pine's first start was Cal. So since Cal week of 2022. Steve Angeli has gotten the number 2 reps every single week. He's been the number 2 guy. So
he's really the number 2 in 2022?
Well, Buckner got hurt, remember? Buckner got hurt, Pine's the starter, and he was the number 2 quarterback. Yeah, because when Pine got knocked out against UNLV, Angeli's in there taking handoffs, and Jelly's in there at Syracuse when they rotated him in. Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he was the number 2. So he's out there as the number 2 quarterback getting all those reps. He's been in the meetings. He's, heck, he's gotten all the snaps. He got, especially in 2023, when you had Kenny there, and Steve obviously just kept his number 2 spot with Kenny Minchey. So, and then Jelly, we could dive into a billion things about him, but some of his passes have been on. His 2 best passes are drops, for crying out loud. The Micah Gilbert right in the breadbasket drop, the beautiful out against Purdue. KK Smith can't catch it. So those are, a couple. Obviously, the boot we talked about a million times, but his slants, his RPOs. I've mentioned, if he's going to be the guy, do what they did with Jack Cohn. RPO, quick game, get the ball out, let him go, let him throw the ball, because he does throw really, really good underneath routes. So, but he's got the experience, and maybe that pays, then maybe that pays off. Obviously, the Penn State experience, being in that moment, getting those couple first downs to get a field goal after Riley Leonard got the first couple first downs. He goes in there and extends that drive. So he's played. I think that matters when you're looking at going into 2025.
Yeah, he's played a good bit of football for a guy who only has 1 start. If that right, like it's like, oh, you only have 1 start, but we're calling him experience. But like, he has been the number 2, as we just talked about in the point before, Tim, about the practice reps. Like, this isn't a video game where each player is assigned an overall and you can just put them in whenever, and it's that's just how it is. Like the experience and practice is so critically important. And Steve has been preparing to go in any given Saturday since you mentioned his freshman year. I mean, so that's something for sure. And then getting the start in the Sun Bowl, getting some garbage time, especially more so last year, he was actually able to throw the ball a little bit in some of those. And then, of course, the Penn State drive that you talked about. I think that if you do have a strong offensive line where Steve can operate as a drop back passer, you got a good running game, and you have some good receivers. Like there's a path for like this to be a really Steve Angeli friendly offense. Whereas like Riley Leonard, you're not asking him to just go back there and drop back and throw like, that's not Riley Leonard's game. It's much more running the football as a quarterback, getting outside the pocket, making plays. So this could be an offense that fits Angeli, and quite honestly, I think that would fit the other guys too, because all 3 of these guys can really spin it. But that's just my thought there.
No, they can. I mean, like I said, Minchey, he had a play in the spring game his best pass was a drop as well. Just throws a dime on a slant, bounces off the dude's chest. It's like, come on, buddy. Hell of a pass. So, these guys all could throw. Come on. They're all at Notre Dame. We're not, they're not guys like you and I trying to win the job. These are all guys that could throw the football. They all got leadership qualities. They all got really good skills. That's why they're at Notre Dame, recruited to go there and play. So, any one of them could win the job. Someone in the chat said no one's proven. Exactly. That's what we're talking about. It's 3 guys trying to win the job. Hell yeah, no one's proven. So that's a given. We all know that.
Case against Mr. Angeli, Steve. Tim. Jesus.
The case, man. Going back to the Notre Dame history, guys have been the guys, when you're younger. The case is he was in the room, he was in the games, he was in the meetings, all those things. And you still went and got Riley Leonard after 2 years as the number 2. So he was not the guy during his sophomore year that they felt, this guy could help go, this guy's going to take us to the playoffs as a junior. They did not see that. I looked this up, and I think I'm pretty accurate. The last senior to be named a starter as a senior who's never been the guy was Kevin McDougal in 1993. That's how long ago it's been. So
that's when I was born.
It's a long, long time of Notre Dame quarterbacks, once again, knowing you're the guy early on. So I think that's a big thing, because they had back-to-back, portal quarterbacks, for a reason, because, they didn't think so-and-so in those rooms could win it. That's Buckner, Pine, Angeli for 23. Last year with Minchey. Obviously, Angeli, Carr, they weren't going to let play as a freshman. So, just a couple of those little things against Steve of they've seen him for 3 years. They've seen him for 3 years. Why hasn't he just been, you're our guy? We're going into 2025. You're our guy. They could have easily have done that. He's thrown more passes, been in more practices, more scrimmages.
Like name him the starter now?
More reps. But I'm saying if he's the guy, right? If he has shown that he's the best player over the last year, 2 years, what is the competition is he's not the best guy. The competition is they know one of the other two could beat him out.
I'm not sure I agree with you there.
No, you may not agree, but there's plenty of quarterback coaches that are like, yeah, that's our guy. They do.
Yeah, but you don't need to say that publicly. That's what I'm saying. That's where I disagree with you.
Yeah, see, this is a fan thing where they're like, oh, you can't, don't say it until August 15th. No, you can say it any damn time.
You can.
This is our quarterback. So we've never heard that with Steve. And I think I'm just talking about a case, right? You got your question is a case against Steve, and that could be one of those.
Yeah. All right, let's go to CJ Carr. What's your case for CJ Carr starting as Notre Dame's quarterback this fall?
The super soft. There's tons and tons of quarterbacks, as I mentioned, 10 minutes ago, that by their second year, they were the guy. Obviously, I mean, throwing Brady Quinn, obviously he got some starts as a freshman, but he was the guy as a sophomore. Obviously, Jimmy Clausen, the same thing, on and on and on, many quarterbacks like that. So he was recruited. They've seen him in some key scrimmages last spring, last training camp. They knew they were going to redshirt him because Riley Leonard's there. Let him just get his feet wet, go from there. Now it's his time. They got this year 4. Freeman's got a pretty good football program right around him, a lot of really good damn football players. We need someone that could just be that extra dynamic type of a quarterback. Does he have more throwing ability? He is a damn good scrambler. You go back and watch his film. He's no stick in the mud. People always think he's a guy with, lead feet. He could run like crazy. So he definitely has some ability. And going back to, that's what they recruited. They recruited him to eventually be the quarterback. Going back to my point I made 20 minutes ago, whoever your starter is in 25, it's in 26. So if you know CJ Carr, you want him to be the guy in 26, damn it. Let him play in 25. Let him play in 25. You got a really good football team built around him. Without a doubt, I mean, I know we talk about wide receivers all the time, but seriously, Mike, since you and I have been, I mean, I'm not even going to say it.
Don't do it.
It is the best wide receiver room, but that's all I'm going to say about it. But it is. But it is with the numbers they got and the athletes they got. This is not throwing to Joe Wilkins and things of that nature. And, hoping Deion Colsey runs the right route as a true freshman. This is definitely a better room. So that's just a little case right there.
All right. Case against him.
Elbow injury, didn't do anything half the season, sat there, couldn't even throw because he got hit in the elbow. So young as heck. Can he handle the fire in Miami? And that place is going to be rocking because the Hurricanes hate the Irish, and that's a hard place to play. And that place is going to be a zoo. Marcus Freeman's like what's going the opposite of what I just said is we've got a really good football team. I could play Steve. I could, who's been in the system a little bit. I could trust him to make the throws. CJ may wet the bed a little bit and freak out and just toss one up every now and then. And what the hell are you doing? That type of thing. But Mike Goolsby always talks about taking lumps. I hate it. There's no such thing. Who the hell wants to take lumps? Nobody. But is that something you're willing to do? Because 2026 could be better. But as you and I talked about this 18 months ago, don't ever start coaching for the next season.
No, you're coaching for the next coach.
Exactly. That's why they got Sam Hartman. That's the whole reason why they got Sam Hartman. The whole reason why they got Riley Leonard was to focus on this one season.
Which is why you argue all the time. Why not go to the portal this year? Like, why not?
Well, that's my main point. If you're not going to have, when's the spring game? Like April 12th or something, right? Whatever that Saturday is, 13th or something. if you don't know who the hell your quarterback, your quarterback on April 12th, let's say, when you're having your coach's party at the house, hanging out, eating nachos, having an iced tea, your quarterback, who you pick, is the guy for the next 2 years. You have to have that mindset going into this season. You do, I feel. Or you just wasted a year and you should have went got another damn quarterback in the portal, because there were plenty out there.
Yeah. And there was plenty of rumors that Notre Dame did go fishing in the portal, which I do believe is true. I believe that Notre Dame went big game hunting. And we're like, you know what? If we get one of these guys, great. Even though Freeman said they weren't going to do it, if you get one, I would rather walk that back with one of the best transfer portal quarterbacks. To be like, well, look who I got. Yeah. So I'd rather do that, and rather than just not try. I'm like, might as well, right? See what's out there. Doesn't hurt.
Now, I know I just said, obviously, coaches, and you and I have talked about this, where, you're playing for this season. But when you have quarterbacks with multiple years, you didn't get a portal quarterback, bam, this is your guy for the next couple of years, because you're not just going to keep opening up quarterback competitions each and every year. If you are, then why the hell did you just, recruit all these guys and you're going to do this each and every year? It makes no sense.
Yeah. So who do you, I don't know if I want to ask you, who do you think it will be, or who do you want it to be, or who you would have it be if it were you? I mean, because let's say, who do you think it'll be, Tim, right now on February 25th? Who's Notre Dame's starting quarterback against Miami? Do they put out someone in their first start, or they put someone out in their second start?
Okay, well,
or a wild card.
That's
or
the
a
other
wild
thing.
card, Tim.
Yeah, that cracks me up when I hear this from fans. It's like, well, start the older guy and let him, let him get his ass kicked, and then we'll put in someone else after that. Basically, they're saying let Angeli be the sacrificial lamb, and if he can't be Miami, play Carr, and we'll go win 11 in a row. Man, I wish it was that damn easy, right? No, it's not. That's why this spring is so vital of figuring it out. So who's it going to be? Man, hell, I have no idea. I mean, is CJ Carr get hit in the elbow again? He can't throw for 6 months. We talked about a month ago. I thought it was going to be Angeli, just because he was going to go with the experience. He's got the reps. You could build around him. You know what you have because he's been out there on the field. You know what you have.
Good and bad, right? So like you can
Exactly.
build around the bad, build around the good.
Yeah. No, exactly. You could do some of that. So
people are talking about Buckner in the chat.
Buckner, jeez.
I have heard, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he moves back to the quarterback room. But if Tyler Buckner
transfers, exactly right, someone transfers or whatnot,
that he's number 3, but he still could go there and be number 4, because I don't think he's going to play as a receiver. So
he's getting his
let
third
him
degree.
Let him play special teams.
I'm sure he got a degree in 1 year at Alabama and those rigors down there. So he's probably trying to get another degree at Notre Dame and go from there.
If Buckner starts at Notre Dame, that's
come on. That's not going to happen. But anyway,
so you think Angeli right now? That would be your guess?
That would be my guess. But I mean, if you go with my with my philosophy of whoever the guy is in 25 is your guy in 26. And that thinking is obviously CJ Carr, unless Steve Angeli goes out there and CJ Carr is just like sitting back there. Who's the guy in The Simpsons, always like, moving his hands, the main owner guy, just sitting there waiting for Steve to wet the bed, throw 3 picks in a game, and CJ gets in. So, I don't think
it's such a fascinating discussion. It's so good. It's so good for business to have this as a discussion. And it's just fun. It's fun. It makes February so much better, Tim, for us to be able to talk about this. And there's a lot to unpack here, and we will do this in like a spring we'll talk about battles and what we're watching for. I mean, Tim and I aren't going to be at the practices, but like in terms of what we are wanting to hear about and whatnot in spring, we'll get Tyler in, who is in South Bend and is going to everything. But like, it is a shortened spring, Tim. It's not 6 weeks. It's not, hey, we're practicing March 5th and then taking off spring break like they did the last couple of years at Kelly, and I want to say a year of Freeman. It's less than, I think, Tim, a month.
Yeah, this is like old
it is fast. So,
yeah.
and Tim,
but this is hold on real quick. This is the way it used to be. You used to get your 15 practices in like 25 days. This thing dragged. This is a Brian Kelly thing where he just dragged this thing out for like 8 weeks. Take a couple vacations because he's golfing, right? So he's got vacations, practice twice a week, take 10 days off. No, this is going to be old school, man. You're going 3 days in a row, get a Saturday in, and just keep this thing going until spring game. And then those guys are going to go hit the road recruiting the rest of April.
Yeah. And then the other thing of it is the season ended just a month ago. Sure. Practice, it gets going in like, 2-3 weeks or something. I think it's 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like some guys still dinged up recovering, not even going to be full go. So you got this quarterback battle. And how many of your players, especially on offense, like are even full go? I like if Faison, is he lacrosse?
Well, he's in lacrosse, yeah.
So it's like it's fascinating, but we'll dive into this more.
Football, man. You just keep going. I mean, them and Ohio State were in the same boat, played longer than anyone. If you want to go back to the playoffs, get your butt out there and start practicing. So it's like you don't get to hang out until April and figure it out, or you're going to be way behind, right? So, and if anything, man, this is something we really haven't talked much about is by going as far as they did, hell, they got an extra spring ball in. How many practices did all those young bucks get, right? All those youngsters on Scout D, just fundamentals, reps, playing gaps, fits, the young old lineman with Joe Rudolph for an entire extra month. So they've already had a spring ball. So this spring ball, it may be, I mean, it's like, we don't need to hear anything about Jeremiah Love. We know we need to
but the quarterback
and things. It's the quarterback, but it's also a log jam at running back. Some of those guys got to rise up. It's the O-line. Everyone thinks it's gonna, the best O-line in the country. Well, you just lost 56 starts, so there's still got to be. Are they going to move some pieces around? There may be one or two guys starting that have never started, so you still got to gel those guys. D tackle.
Net win though. Net positive for on the O-line, even with the starts gone, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find.
I think seriously, we already have.
We'll find out if that is, but we have no. I mean, who the hell's the center in the spring? Me?
Yeah, you want to?
Coogan's gone. Ashton Craig's out, so
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Figure that out.
That you got a quarterback battle and see who gels with the offense the most, and it's a.
You're gonna have the managers doing 7-on-7 snapbacks to them, because they don't have a center. So no, I mean, there's still position battles. You got. The defense was just filled with gray hairs. They're all gone and moved on. So, no, there's definitely some battles that need to take place. And the linebackers, who's the leader of the linebacker room? You got, I mean, seriously, look at all the reps. Kaiser, Bertrand, Maris have had the last 2 years, right? Gone. It's like 2,000 reps between those three guys, right? So, bam, a ton of young guys and stuff. And it's going to be an exciting spring because the expectations are there. The expectations are a top 5 team, a Final Four team, a playoff run again. But can you make a playoff run, Mike, with a brand new quarterback? That's the most interesting thing that Marcus Freeman just rolled the dice with in 2025.
Yeah. Who's the last returning starter for Notre Dame? Is it Book at quarterback?
Yeah. Book took over Wake in 18 and finished. Obviously finished the whole year, and then obviously 19 and 20. 21 is Cone. Buckner got the Wildcat reps. 22 Buckner, and then Pine replaced him. Buckner back for the bowl. Hartman, Leonard back to back.
Yeah.
And then Jelly is the 2.
Do you remember our Drew Pine hit the portal show? Do you remember that show? I think about that. That is something I think about way too often. That's one of the
best ones. That was one of the most.
It was Drew Pine, but for his non major of a news is Drew Pine hitting the portal, but it was just like it was bigger than that, just in terms of what it meant
Well,
and
that
the
was year one.
ramifications.
That's an also thing. That was a year one with Freeman. Obviously some of the bad losses. He's like, man, I'm blowing up this quarterback room. I'm gonna blow this thing up. Go get a portal quarterback, which obviously was Sam Hartman all along. And, yeah. I mean, that's going back to that Pine thing because he had that meeting on Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday when we backtracked and looked at the dates. By Friday at 1:00, Drew Pine was in the portal, gone. So yeah, that happened less than 48 hours after that infamous meeting with Freeman and whatnot after the USC game in 22.
Jack Kaiser is so old that he went to high school with Mark with Glasses' dad. How about that? Crash Davis, $10 super chat. He says, # why not Kenny? Is that a trend? I haven't seen that.
Well, the whole Well, I mean, we just talked about why not Kenny? Why not Kenny? Because he's been third string for 2 years. Steve Angeli's there. You got the hot shot CJ Carr, coming up. That's the guy. The coaches. I mean, Goolsby's talked about this, and it's been perfect. He's that forgotten guy.
He's the middle child of the quarterback room in the sense of is like you're not the experienced one, you're not the flashy toy anymore. It's
because obviously Freeman and they wanted Dante Moore. That was the guy, and then they went that whole once Dante splashed away like in April-ish, they went April, May, June, July, just trying to figure out the quarterback thing, and then Minchey obviously popped and committed November-ish, right, or October, something like that in the season.
I think it's all late October.
That whole part. But he committed. CJ Carr was already committed for the whole entire
half a year,
next class ahead of time. So everyone's like, yeah, that's cool. We got CJ Carr.
You guys remember the Minchey cycle in 2023. Notre Dame was looking at hosting a UCLA baseball commit?
Baseball player.
He didn't even have any football offers. Like, that's how bad it looked. Notre Dame, like, they got a really good quarterback in Minchey that cycle, and it was almost a disaster. Like, it was pretty bad. Like, Notre Dame struck out hard. They could have had Vizina early, and they slow played Chris Vizina. I think ended up at 5-star, at least according to one of the sites. And they tried for Austin Novacek. I think he stuck with Baylor.
Oregon.
Or no, he ended up at Oregon.
Now he's backing up Dante Moore. So he's not even on the. I think he's third string going. I actually just saw his name recently. I was looking at some of the spring quarterback battles across the country.
That was Jackson Arnold's recruiting. I mean, I think Notre Dame could have had him.
It was Dante. That was the guy. That's the guy they threw all the chips in.
So when people ask, like, has Notre Dame learned things? Like, yes, they learned a lot from the Dante Moore. They really, I think they screwed the pooch on that one for sure. But different,
That's right. Also,
I would say different topic for a different day. But no, I have no interest in diving into it.
Exactly. But that's right at that beginning of the whole NIL. That's right when all this started to figure out. And these parents are like, well, I could get money.
Still early in the Freeman, like that was Freeman was head coach, and then it was Fiesta Bowl.
Game yet, exactly.
So it was that first cycle, Tim. If you remember, it was all about like flash, right? It was like we're gonna go get Brennan Vernon, and we're gonna get Braylon James, and like these highly ranked guys, and we're gonna build a lot of momentum. And just because you're highly ranked doesn't mean you're gonna play. I think they definitely went for like splash, right? Splash guys, flash, like, but that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video if you have not done so yet. We're going to end with a couple quick topics, some articles that Jack Silva did recently. Notre Dame, here's the headline. Notre Dame right tackle Emil Wagner named top 5 returning offensive tackle in college football. What do you think about this, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, it's legit. He's got a hell of a season, obviously, almost 1,000 snaps under his belt, so that definitely helps. You go off his Pro Football Focus grades were outstanding. He got better as the year went on.
This was a PFF thing too, by the way.
Oh yeah, it was. I know the Miami guy Notre Dame's going to face in the the first game as like number 1 or 2. He's good as could be. So that's going to be a nice battle. Whoever's going against that guy. He was a 5-star. He's a stud. I watched some film on him. But Wagner had a heck of a year. But just real quick, I always like to go back and compare guys. Wagner's in his 3rd year. Wagner's overall PFF was 79.5. That's damn good. That compares to some other guys in their 3rd years. Alex Bars in 16 was 75.9. So Wagner's ahead. Liam Eichenberg, who ended up being a consensus All-American in 2020, he was only a 63.1. He struggled that year. So, and then Fisher was a 71.8, so basically 72. So Wagner's his 3rd year, redshirt soft, same as all these other guys with Bars, Eichenberg, Fisher, well ahead of those guys. So I found that impressive. I think Wagner's gonna be a top 50 pick. He's too damn talented, too damn skillful, too damn long, strong. He's got to pack another 10 pounds. He is going to be up in that 20 to 40 NFL pick.
So happy, Tim. Do you remember talking about his recruitment or him early on? It's like he can't get over 260 pounds. It's like, damn, like, is he ever going to put on the weight? Like, that was the biggest thing. Like, he's talented as heck, he's strong as heck, he's athletic, all these things, but is he going to be able to put on the weight? And
I remember our
Notre Dame's latest listing of him, 6'6", 291. So yeah, get up to 300, 310. So
it was 292. Yeah, I think it was 292 last training camp. So he's lost a pound. That's good. But but I remember we did our little video on Wagner because it was a shock. No one expected him to commit to Notre Dame. Right. I remember saying if he was 285 pounds, 290, which most of the guys ranked ahead of him are, I mean, he would have been a unanimous top 20 pick. His film was unbelievable as a senior. Everybody would have ranked him in the 5-star. He was that damn good. So
who did rank him as a 5-star though?
On 3, you got a Wagner, you got Jagasaw, Black, and maybe they pull out one this year.
There's one more, right?
It's 3 in a row, right? You got Wagner 22, Jags 23. Oh my God, Tim. Derby Lambert, geez Louise, Tim.
Yeah.
Derby and Will Black. 4 in a row.
Yeah, it's not looking great right now because the 3 they have committed are pretty far up. But Will Black went from like a 3-star to a 5-star. You don't see 2-star jumps often, but
no, the guy is the Carolina guy who I know they're recruiting. He's middle of the pack. He's a
Akine Oboko. Yeah. If Notre Dame's going to sign a 5-star offensive lineman this cycle,
he's the one.
Hit him.
Unless Tyler Merrill just shoots up after a senior year.
Yeah. Just as an interior offensive lineman, as a 5-star. I maybe if Evan Goodwin is in Arkansas, Notre Dame gets him. And
I'll tell you what, man, that is my biggest. I can't believe that guy's unbelievable.
It's like 6'7", 290. Maybe
arms are crazy. So that is a super talented guy when you're looking at that. But I mean, they got 4 in a row. But kudos. Emil's a stud. Emil's going to be a starter. I hope he stays for 2 more years. In 2026, O-line is like just unbelievable freakish. But he's going to be a early second round draft pick.
All right, one more 10. Youth movement. Notre Dame true freshman logged 4th most snaps in college football. So the whole narrative about Notre Dame doesn't play true freshmen, it's dead. It's dead. Maybe that was more of a Kelly thing. Notre Dame is playing a crap ton of true freshmen. This is a premium article from Jack Sobel yesterday. I hope Jack doesn't mind. He's showing some of this, but injury obviously has impacted that. But
still,
2,800 snaps by Notre Dame.
A lot of football. It helps when you play 16 games. Oh man, no, that's a lot of. I know, Clemson's guys are unbelievable. Oklahoma. By the way, Oklahoma had Bowen's little brother make. I saw a fun. I watched a little bit of his film. He had a hell of a season.
Yeah,
was watching some of his plays, so I know I saw him and he was on a ton of those DB all freshman teams with Leonard Moore. So Auburn stinks. Put it back up. Let me see real quick. What happened there? Yeah, and there's the Irish Alabama. That's probably all Ryan Williams' snaps right there.
Right. So Notre Dame played a lot.
About
5 got over 100 snaps. Can you name the 5?
Well, obviously, we'll go Knapp's 15 starts. You got Leonard Moore, the Football Writers Defensive Player of the Year, Kingston. Oh, God, Tim. Who the heck am I missing?
No.
I was going to – no.
One is a defensive lineman.
Oh, geez, Brian Young. Right,
Bryce Young.
Yeah. Bryce Young. And
then a third down specialist on offense.
Oh, Aeneas Williams.
Yeah. So there's your 5. Yeah. Carson Hobbs got close 83. Carson Hobbs had close 83.
Special teams. What did Logan? Yeah, look. See,
this was not including special teams. I don't think
PFF
I was thinking Logan Thomas.
That's what I was going to say. Logan Thomas. He played that.
Yeah.
Special teams.
Yeah, he might have 100 under his belt for that. But
yeah. Well, he definitely lettered, so that's good.
Frank said, "I'm going to need to know." Sorry, go ahead, Tim.
I was going to say, man, just real quick. Yeah, it's a good crop of freshmen. I mean, a lot of those guys are going to play, and that's not even taking obviously Gerby Lambert, who everyone's sky high on. Sean Seviano obviously got some snaps in there.
Yep.
Some of the other young DBs, I mentioned Hobbs, Urlacher's getting a lot of hype. It's a damn good group. And obviously CJ Carr up there is one of the ringleaders if he takes over as a sophomore. So going in as sophomores, you're probably going to have 10, 12 sophomores, maybe 150, 200 snaps.
Future's bright.
That's Kedron Young as well. If he has a big spring and moves up and gets in fights up there with Aeneas Williams. So we'll see.
All right. Frank says, I need to know 5 tasks I did during my off week. Bought some new blinds.
Oh, that's vital.
My wife had to run some errands, so I had the baby. I would call that a task.
Definitely.
Yeah. Let's see. Clean the pool. Cleaning the pool a task.
Vital. Where you're living, yes. There's no pool cleaning up here in New England, 0. So that's good.
Just some vacuuming.
Yeah.
I did other things. I cooked. Definitely cooked.
The leadership you displayed, Mike, in your home is awesome. So that's awesome.
I don't know if you're being facetious, but I'll take it. I'll take it as serious.
I love it.
And I rested. I came back rested and relaxed, rested and replenished and ready to roll.
Well, you didn't.
I came back officially Monday, but I broke some news, or maybe not break news, but I mean it was just a recruiting visit. But Connor Salmon's official visit to Notre Dame, I had the scoop on that Sunday night. So I was like, hey, I'm back.
Is he going to be this year's Hannafin and go to Clemson?
Yeah, that'd sting. I think Clemson's back. By the way,
hey, Clemson's fine, man.
They're fine.
They made some boneheaded plays, or they had Texas right there on the ropes. So, Clemson's fine. Dabo knows what he's doing.
I think they didn't really go too far, but they're back anyway. I don't know. Tim and I don't dislike Clemson.
No, I love Dabo, man. Dabo's
and they run the program similarly to Notre Dame, so there's definitely respect there.
He's doing what he's doing. And plus, you got Will Held, who's one of my favorites out of Purdue. Mike Held's son, who I wanted Notre Dame to get. He went to Clemson. That's one of Clemson's big portal gets. So
first, right? First portal get?
I think they had someone maybe 3 years ago, but
okay.
As far as they had a couple they got this year. But he's got that's ESPN, Bill Connolly. He puts out all his analytics. Like Clemson's boatload of players coming back. Yeah, they're definitely going to be up in that upper echelon preseason. And they start Brian Kelly. They got to beat the Brian Kellys, right? So game
Tigers
1.
Just the Tigers. Love it. Who is the true Death Valley? There you go. All right, folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. If you're just tuning in, make sure you rewind. Go watch the beginning of the show. Some great stuff today with Tim Hyde. Glad to be back tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Notre Dame 6-pack, 6 topics, 6 minutes each on them with Tyler Horker and Jack Sobel. That'll be Wednesday night. And then Friday, don't hold me to it. I might do a call-in show. Don't hold me to it, but I might do a call-in show on Friday. We'll see. Friday afternoon. And Kyle's out this week. He's on vacation. So I might, instead of our recruiting show Friday, I might just do a call-in show. I haven't done one of those in a while, so I'll hear from you guys Friday. But don't hold me to it. Catch you guys later. Hit that thumbs up, and have a great night.